Hello and welcome to another Dragon Ball FighterZ video. Today, TGN Anime presents a character profile for Majin Buu. Majin Buu is a big guy, both vertically and horizontally, but this gives him a very decent reach, especially since it can stretch his own limbs. However, he doesn't have that many long-range attacks, which makes the medium range his preferred zone of operation. But let's start by looking at his abilities. If you jump and hit the heavy attack button, Buu will stretch his arm and try to hit an opponent. This is great for zoning, for retreating, for interrupting a charging enemy. There are a lot of great uses for this one, so just keep this tool in mind. Moving on to his special attacks, we start with Sweeping Breath with quarter circle forward and the special button. Buu blows this pink breath at the opponent, which covers about half the screen. So once again, the mid-range is really where he shines. Nothing special about this attack. It's really fast to make up for its lack of range. This is also his assist attack, and it's just one of Buu's zoning options. You can prolong some combos using this, but mainly use this for zoning. His second special attack is the pot belly attack with quarter circle backwards and the special button. Buu removes part of himself and throws it at the enemy. This projectile describes an arc while traveling through the air, and it can hit the opponent at any time during this travel. If they're not blocking, they'll become trapped for a very short period of time, but in Dragon Ball FighterZ, this short period of time is enough to dish out some serious damage. So this is yet another zoning ability that doesn't really deal a lot of damage to the enemy. It's more of a setup ability that allows you to follow up with a combo or a super, really anything you can think of. Moving on to his attack specials, we begin with a mount dive with your quarter circle forward and the attack button. Buu will jump forward, and if he hits the opponent with his butt, he'll beat the crap out of them. Depending on the attack button you press, the light, medium, or heavy, the mount dive will cover more or less distance, with the heavy attack version actually tracking the enemy position. Now this is a great combo finisher. There are a lot of combos that you can end by using the mount dive, and it can also be easily linked into Buu's level 1 or level 3 super. If you're at close range, Buu will actually hit the opponent while jumping up, and then again once he lands and beats him up, but the jumping up part, it's important to keep in mind because that can be the difference between a true combo and a not true combo. Also, if you miss the mount dive but land really close to your opponent, they will actually become staggered for a little bit. Buu's a heavy dude, and he shakes the ground, so while that might not be great to give you any real openings for a combo or something else, it's great for staggering the enemy, preventing him from countering you now that you've missed the mount dive. Buu's final special attack is the cartwheel with quarter circle backwards and an attack button, and Buu will, like the name says, do a cartwheel backwards. This is very much a counter. You can use this to end combos too, but it's not as easy to connect with the super as the mount dive. It is possible, but it will require some practice. I do believe that this is mainly a counter or an anti-air move. This can be used to counter a super dash or any rushdown type character. If they're in your face, cartwheel will hit them back, and then put some distance between you and your opponent so you can go back to the mid-range where Buu thrives the most. Moving on to his supers, Majin Buu is pretty simple with a level 1 and a level 3. Both of them can only be performed while on the ground. His level 1 is called You Know What? I Hate You with quarter circle forward and the right bumper or trigger. This is the easiest super to land in the entire game because it just covers the whole screen, the entire thing. So no matter where your opponent is, if he's not blocking, he's gonna get hit. If you land a super with another character and then follow up with Buu, you don't need to practice the range, you don't need to practice the positioning, you'll just always hit the enemy. So that's a great tool to have, but what about his level 3? With quarter circle backwards and the right bumper or trigger, you have You're My Snack Now, which is a horizontal projectile. It's a bit slow by Dragon Ball FighterZ standards, but if it hits the opponent, it turns them into a cookie, and then Buu eats the cookie. That's what he does. Now, if this move kills an enemy, they will stay inside Buu's belly. If not, they'll be spit back out. Now, this deals some decent damage, but more importantly, this can heal Majin Buu. If you've got any blue health, you'll heal a decent amount of it while dealing damage to the opponent, so that's a nice bonus. But what's more impressive about the super, and this isn't anything gameplay relevant, is that the devs actually designed a cookie version for every single character in the roster, just in case they get hit with this level 3, and that's just incredible. As far as auto combos go, this is what happens when you mash the light attack button. And this is what happens when you mash the medium attack button. And now that we know his moves, here are some quick tips on how to use them. Majin Buu, as we've said repeatedly, thrives at the medium range. He doesn't have a lot of long range options, so he might not be as good of a zoner as the best in the game like Frieza or Cell, but at the mid range, he can compete with pretty much anyone. At close range, however, he's gonna take some getting used to, because most of his normals are actually pretty slow, or slower than the other characters in the roster. And that's something that you need to learn and master about Buu. You're not gonna get away with button mashing if you're playing against a faster character at close close range, like Vegeta or Gohan. If you encounter a rushdown type like this, use your cartwheel to counter their rush. You can also find openings in every single character, but that opening is gonna take some getting used to because Buu's moves are just a little bit slower. So if you use your cartwheel, you'll go back to your mid-range, which is really the zone where you're comfortable, where most of your moves are more effective. His supers also make Buu very versatile, because even though his level 1 covers the entire screen and it's very easy to use, and his level 3 actually gives him some more longevity, since you can recover blue health without you having to swap him out. As far as combos go, my recommendation is to finish them with a mount dive while you're learning this character, because the mount dive can easily be linked with his level 1 or level 3 super, so you can spend as much meter as you want. And when you can't go for combos, just try to stay in the mid-range and use his stretchy limbs, his sweeping breath, or even his pot belly attack. And that's the character profile for Majin Buu. Thank you everyone for your support for all of these character profiles so far. We'll be back with this series once we get our hands on some more characters, but for now, we've covered everything that we got our hands on. So expect something different next week, and make sure you don't miss a single character profile. I've put together a playlist with all our videos so far, so click it up there and check if you missed any. If you're in the mood for something else, there's also the video at the bottom, but as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you guys next time. Boy!